Beyond Ardlui. For the next hour or so, you'll be travelling through a landscape which is home to one of Scotland's most majestic birds, the golden eagle. All but one of the UK's breeding pairs are found in Scotland, and Roy Dennis has been studying them for years. His insights are fascinating.
They're surprisingly difficult to see. I suppose the best time is kind of February or March when they're up displaying, and occasionally I've seen them from the train. Whether you'll see one, I think you'd be extremely lucky if you did. But what you're looking for is a big bird passing across the mountains, crossing the track of the railway line. You're much more likely to see buzzards, which perch on fence posts or telegraph poles. And you can basically say if the bird is perched on a fence post, then it's a buzzard and not a golden eagle. My best advice is, if you're not sure, then it's a buzzard. But of course that relies on you actually knowing how a buzzard flies. So it's possible, but it's a really lovely thing to think that golden eagles watch trains regularly every day in Scotland, but people rarely see golden eagles from trains. Yeah, the year of a golden eagle is quite interesting. In winter, they're really trying to find enough food to keep going in the really short days of winter. And it's really difficult sometimes. You may get days and days of rain or snow when an eagle probably doesn't feed at all. They could easily go 3 or 4 days without any food. And then in February and March, they start to display and they start to choose which nest they'll use that year. And in each home range of a golden eagle, each pair has something like 6 miles by 6 miles of mountains. They'll have a number of nests there, and they would choose one of those nests for that particular year. And they'll start to line it. They particularly like a plant called the greater wood rush for lining the inside of the nest. Makes it a lovely place to nestle their eggs when they're brooding. Then the female will lay her eggs any time from sort of the second week of March onwards into mid-April, depending on the kind of altitude of the nest. Then they have 6 weeks of incubation, and the 2 eggs should both hatch, but quite often only 1 chick survives, and the chick stays in the nest for about 12 weeks, being fed by its parents. It's then looked after by the parents and fed within the home range, so the youngster is following the parents for the first few months, and then they disperse. They leave their parents. But the interesting thing we're finding now, when we're starting to satellite track young eagles, is that some eagles may leave their parents in October, and some will stay with their parents right through until the following February. Now, finding food for a golden eagle is not easy. You know, people assume this great bird can just decide that it wants something to eat and go and get it. It's not like that at all. What they need when they're feeding young is they want to catch living animals of the size of a rabbit or a grouse or a ptarmigan or a mountain hare, and that's perfect for feeding to their young because it gives them calcium as well as flesh. But they can catch everything from an adder or a vole all the way up to seabirds. One of the really interesting conservation projects to do with eagles in Scotland in the last 10 years is that the Scottish government decided that Ireland could have some chicks from Scotland. And so chicks from nests of 2 young were collected and taken for release in the Glenveigh National Park in Donegal. Those young ones were reared in big cages overlooking the glen and then released after about a month. And for the last 5 years, individual pairs of golden eagles are now breeding again in Ireland and producing young after an absence of 70 years. So it's a really positive conservation project which Scotland has helped with.